Hello, 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 everyone. Okay, let's wait for more people to join. I was vibing to that music. I'm pretty sure most of you are vibing to it as well. So let's wait for more people to join the stream. Once, just let's give them 2 minutes, 2 more minutes to join the stream. So we'll start in the next 2 minutes. So let's vibe to that music a little bit while waiting for more people to join the stream. Okay, just 1 minute to go and we'll kick off. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, welcome everyone, and don't forget to check in. Don't forget to check in. Okay, just before we go straight to business, I want to know how you all been doing today, and just tell me how you all been doing. Good to see you. Good to see you too. M10VIR. Good to see you too. Tell me how you guys been doing. How has it been going so far? How was your day? I know some people are morning, afternoon, night. Great, 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 great. Okay, so it's midnight my time. 10 10:07 p.m. I know most of you are a.m. Some already in the afternoon, and some of course p.m. Hey, hey, Tammy, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, so we're going to learn a lot about Kubernetes and we're going to see what it is used for. Thank you for asking. Starwick says midnight here. I see. Abu, I am doing great. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, forgive me if I pronounced that wrongly. Yeah, 2 a.m. That's that's pretty late. But cool. Nice to have you on the stream. Yes, guys, it's pretty fun, pretty sunny day in Florida. A good weekend. Yep, yep. Oh, M1 is 12:05 your time. Cool. Amazing. Okay, pretty cloudy in New York City. I see. Okay. Okay, so just before we get down to business and all that, learning about Kubernetes and what it's all about, I just want to uh, know if anyone at all, anything you know about Kubernetes, anything you know about uh, Docker, Kubernetes, any ideas, anything that comes to your mind. Is it the first time you're hearing this word? I just really want to know if any of you have tried it out before, if anyone has actually used Kubernetes before, if anyone has used Docker before. Let me know if you have used it before, if this is your first time of hearing the word Kubernetes. Let me know. Yeah, Sky says it is a container orchestration for project. That is absolutely correct. Yes, that is absolutely correct. You have an idea of what it is? Yeah, so I would say use Docker, not Kubernetes. Awesome. So we'll find out the differences and how they actually use together. Scar also said it's kind of like packaging your setup to use on a different system. Absolutely correct. Uh, it just solves the problem of it runs on my machine, but it does not run on your machine. Or it runs on my machine, and right now we deployed it and it's not running. Developers always have that issue, so it solves that problem as well. Docker containers images for project. Absolutely correct. That is what they are. So Docker provides containerization for different parts of a project. That is exactly what it does. Okay, it solves the works of my machine problem. Yeah, it solves the works. It solves the works of my machine problem. Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's the problem itself. The problem of developers like, but it's worked on my machine. Why is it not working on your machine? So Docker solved the problem because it bundles everything together for you, and you can literally use it. Okay, so far so good. Most people are, know a little bit, know much about it. I want to know people who are hearing the word Docker Kubernetes for the first time, for the very first time. If you are hearing that word for the very first time, I want to know. Let me know on the comment section if this is your first time of hearing the word Docker. It is the first time of hearing the word Kubernetes. Oh, okay. So I've learned about Docker, but I don't know how to apply it in my project. Okay, we're gonna actually find out how. So Tamisa, it is my first time to hear about them. Awesome. So we're going to learn how it works. This is going to be an interesting stream. I'm going to be drawing on a whiteboard. So like I actually want to explain how it works, and I'm going to use examples that everybody can and everybody can relate to. An example that you see on a day-to-day life, and we're gonna see exactly how it works. We're gonna try to use it, and we also see where Kubernetes comes in and all that. Okay, so hello, I have only heard about it before, and I want to learn how to implement it. Okay, we're gonna find that on this stream. Okay, so before I forget, make sure you check in. I'm just gonna drop that link one more time before we go straight to business today. So make sure you check in. Okay. So make sure you check in. Make sure you check in. Don't forget to check in, so with that you can actually keep track of people that are checked in, that actually attended the event or the stream. So make sure you check in, please. So my name is Vincent, and I'm your ML streamer, and I am also an AWS community builder. I love everything about the cloud, and you can talk to me about clouds, cloud computing, DevOps, and everything that has to do with the cloud. So today we'll be looking at how to deploy your first Kubernetes app on AWS, right? But that is not the most exciting part. The most exciting part of this is actually understanding how it works, how what Kubernetes is literally, and what Docker is also. So, I mean, the whole event is on Kubernetes, but we can't actually talk about Kubernetes if we don't talk about Docker, right? So we're going to look at how what it is, how both of them works, and the relationships they have with one another. Okay, so I just have some slides here, but I just want you to read through the slides. I'm going to explain what this is, and I'll be bringing up my paint. Okay, so someone says the beginner in Docker never used Kubernetes, but heard of it, so that Docker a much faster alternative than real-time booting up virtual machines. Absolutely, absolutely. So this is like I'm looking at my stream, the slides, just giving you what it is. Kubernetes is simplified management, seamless scaling, health monitoring, and so forth and so forth. That is exactly what it does. But I want us to look at the basics. I want us to like relate to it in a very friendly way, and not just the big words or the jargons. Like it does this, and does that. Yeah, I'm going to share resources once we get started with actually implementing this in real life. So I have an interesting uh, web app, web app that I just built up few minutes ago with all the whole instructions of this, stream. So it's going to be interesting workshop. I'll be sharing that so everybody can follow along. But just before we dive in, there are prerequisites for this stream, and I want to make sure that before we get to the demo session and implementing this in real life, that everybody have this set up in their resources, in their machine. So you need an AWS account. You can just Google AWS account and sign up. I'm just going to post every single link on the comment section. So you need an AWS account. Let me get that for you. Of course, I mean, if you were curious about this stream, you should have gotten an AWS account by now. But if you have not, you can go ahead and do that right now. So I just press the link right there on the comment section. So make sure you just go ahead and go to aws.amazon.com/free and sign up. But I want to believe we all have an AWS account before coming to the stream, because everything we'll be doing was all about deploying Kubernetes to AWS. So the first thing you're supposed to have is an AWS account. So if you have that, let's see, if you have that, the next account you need to have is you need to install the AWS CLI. All right. So first things first, get the AWS account. If you have an account, then you can actually install a CLI. We'll also see how we can configure the CLI to communicate with our AWS account. So I'm going to paste the link to also download the CLI. So if you already have an account, then go ahead and download the CLI using the link that I just shared. So aws.amazon.com/CLI. So that way you will be able to download the CLI. So you will see different versions. No, it's a CLI. So let me actually see. So whether you're on Windows, Mac, or Linux, you will see instructions on how to download them. Let's see. If you visit the page, click on Get Started. It should take you to a new page. So I recommend installing updating to the latest version of AWS. That is the one you should go for. You'll see 3 options. I'm just going to share the direct link for you, so I don't actually, waste the time. Okay, so someone asked, which link do we need to go to once we have signed in? So if you have signed into AWS, if you are signing into AWS, the next thing you should do is go to the link I just pasted right now that is showing on the screen and download the AWS CLI. So CLI stands for Command Line Interface. So go ahead and download the AWS CLI. So if you have signed up to if you have gone to Amazon, aws.amazon.com/free and sign up for a free account, I want you to you can go to this page, aws.amazon.com/CLI to, you see getting started to take you to a new page, but you can just go directly to the last link I just shared. That should take you directly to the installation page. And you will see three options: Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. So download any of that for your operating system. Okay. So once you have that, I'm going to give a few minutes. I will add the AWS CLI to my shell executor in my CLI. So I don't really get the question. So I don't really understand this question. But if I got it correctly, so if you're on Mac, if you're on Linux, just follow the instruction on the page, on this page right here. Follow the instruction for your operating system. It will install globally on your terminal. So if you're on Windows, it will install globally on your PowerShell or command line terminal. If you're on Linux, it will install globally, so you can actually access it from from any folder at all. So I don't know if that answered your question. The same thing with Mac, it will install globally on your terminal, so you can access it anytime, anywhere from the terminal. If that is exactly what you're asking, not a question, just saying I have a share that I use and I can integrate. Okay, cool. Good to know. Shaking disaster. Okay, so if you have that already, the next thing you need is to download Kubernetes CLI tool. I'm going to share the link. Also, give me 1 second. So I literally use a different tool. I use a Minikube. It's like a smaller version of Kubernetes. Yeah, I use Minikube literally, but you can go ahead and download Minikube, or you can download the Kubernetes CLI directly. Literally, even if you download Minikube, it's a smaller version of the entire Kubernetes. So any of that works. I'll just go ahead and put the link to both of them. So I'm going to put 3 links right here. So you have the Kubernetes, you have Minikube, and you have Docker. So I pasted 3 links on the comment section. So, okay, let me try that again. They all concatenated together. Yeah, it's not working. So I'm going to paste it one after the other. So the first link should take you to Kubernetes, so you can. You're welcome, Shaking Disaster. Your name is amazing. Okay, so the first is the Kubernetes tools. You can visit that link. You should be able to download the CLI from there. The second link is Minikube. Yeah, just one at a time. So let's follow it one at a time. I mean, I'm actually going to show. We're going to follow this step by step. I just want to share those things so that everybody can follow along, and keep setting them up even before we start looking at it. Okay. So this should take you to Kubernetes. You can download the CLI. The second one should take you to okay. So is there a specific architecture we need to download? You can just download the latest version of it, or you can just stick to the Minikube. It's like a smaller version. I actually prefer this because it's like way small. Basically, what I use. Uh, actually, I think we should just use this. You can just go ahead and use this. It's like small and it's small version of like running the Kubernetes engine, basically. So you can actually stick to just using the Minikube. So I have a question. Someone asked for AWS CLI, do I need IAM credentials through AWS sign up? So after you sign up for a free account, download the CLI and just download it and yeah, just download it and wait for further instructions. Yes. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at this step by step. So basically, what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to drop the links. I'm going to drop the links. The reason I'm dropping the links is, I mean, you can start downloading them before I actually get to share my screen and start downloading them or showing you the instructions. Okay. But I'm just sharing those links so you can like start downloading them beforehand. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just gonna drop the links. You can just download, but I will show you step by step how we can do that as well. So the other thing you need is a Docker account. So I'll share that as well. So go to docker.com and sign up for a Docker account. Okay, so that is basically what we need. And you can see those links on the comment section, and you can just go ahead and keep downloading the tools that we need. So you need a Docker. Just download the Docker desktop version. Basically, yeah, it's very easy. It has a user interface. So we'll basically be using that. We also see how we can actually run some commands like the Docker command, but you can just download the desktop version. Like it's pretty easy for you to download, and you can just go ahead and use the desktop version of Docker. Okay. But I think if you're on Linux, you should download the engine itself. I'm not sure if they have like a Docker desktop for Linux. I'm not pretty sure. But if you're on Windows, download the desktop version. If you're on Linux, you should download the engine itself. So that's basically what you need. And then lastly, you need a Docker Hub account. I'm going to share the link also. 1 second. Let me get that link. So it should be somewhere here. hub.docker.com. Okay, so this is, yeah, download the version 2 for AWS CLI. Yes, if you have the Docker desktop for Mac, that is absolutely enough. Then create a Docker Hub account. So if you have used GitHub before, Docker Hub is like GitHub of Dockers. Yep. You can install for all users. You can install for me. Yeah, I mean, like if you're the only one that uses a laptop, then install for all users is basically you. I'm responding to this question on the screen. If you're the only one that uses your laptop, so it's basically you. So you can install for all users. And then if you have different people using the laptop, they can install for the current user sign-in, which is you, which is only you, so that other people cannot have access to the CLI. Okay, so let's talk about Kubernetes. But before we talk about Kubernetes, let's talk about what Docker is and what Kubernetes is and the relationship both of them have. All right, so before we dive into why it matters, let's talk about what it is. So I'm going to share my screen, and 1 second. I'm going to open Paint because I want to draw to give you an illustration of what these tools actually do. If you're installing Kubernetes, don't worry about Minikube. Minikube is like a smaller version of Kubernetes, so that's why it's called Mini Kubernetes, like a mini version of it. So I'm responding to this question right here. Then I have another question that says, I have Docker in my GitHub, but I don't have laptop. Please, what should I do now? You have Docker in your GitHub. So I don't really get that question. So Docker is like an engine on its own. So I'm not really sure what you mean by you have it on your GitHub, but if you have like a project and you have Docker file right there, yeah, it's just a file. It lives on the GitHub, not pretty much. So you also say you don't have a laptop. Please, what should I do? I mean, you actually need a laptop for this session. So, but you can just follow along. When you have access to the laptop, you can replay the stream and follow along as well. Okay, so I have another one here. It says. Minikube, blah blah blah. Specific Kubernetes version is less than the updates, but yeah, I mean, like the main Kubernetes is like they're always pushing updates, so basically gonna have like the latest version in the Kubernetes itself. The mini cube, I mean, they're gonna cache up, so you can actually force it and just use the difference is this is like a smaller version of it, so it's not going to have everything that the other guy has, but it is actually it's actually sufficient for what we're trying to do on this demo. So you can actually skip this. You can install the Kubernetes CLI itself, like the main Kubernetes CLI, or you can go with the Minikube. So it was like two options. Are there online platforms that can be used for Docker practices online? Yes, there is. I can't think of one right now. So if you have an AWS account, AWS CLI already comes pre-installed with Kubernetes, with Docker. Yeah, so you can actually make use of that. So yeah, it does. AWS Class Shell comes with it. Okay. Uh, 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm gonna share my paint. So I have paint open somewhere here. So just before I share my paint, yes, so Kubernetes. So for the tools, just install them. So I said a lot of questions about the tools. So for the tools, just install them. We will go to like I'm gonna share my screen. We're going to go through it step by step, and then I can answer the questions you may be having while trying to install them on your end. Okay. So let's actually look at what Kubernetes are and Docker are in a very simplified, simple way. Uh, of course, it's simplified management. It helps you scale easily and head monitoring. What are actually this in real life? So let's see what this is in real life. 1 second. I'm gonna drag this over here. Okay, I think my screen should be big enough. So to actually understand what Kubernetes are, I'm gonna use a bookstore as an example. Okay, I don't think I can get rid of these guys. Can I? Okay, not sure. So imagine you have a bookstore, and this is our bookstore right here. Give me 1 second. So this is our bookstore. I'm gonna draw and delete. So let's say this is our bookstore right here. Can I write on this? I think so. It's tiny. I can increase that. Okay, perfect. Can I get rid of you? Yes, I can. Okay. I haven't used Paint in a long run. Looking like a little bit difficult for me. So I'm not trying to draw. I'm trying to select. How does that work? Hmm. Okay, I don't really have that tool you mentioned, but let me see. Okay, this is hard than I expected to be. You know what? Instead, I'm just gonna draw with my pencil right here. So we have a bookstore. This is a bookstore, but it's not looking pretty nice. So I'll stick with this. We have a pretty big bookstore. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of options of things I can use. I said draw. Hmm. Is it like an online platform? I don't want to install any tool right now. But if it's an online platform, let's see. Okay, I said draw whiteboard. Looks like an online platform. Okay, pretty cool. Let's see. Let me see how it works. Pick a tool and you can draw right here. Okay, amazing. So let's stick to that then. So I'm gonna close my whiteboard. Before I do that, I'm gonna open Excel draw. Okay, cool. Okay, I think it's cool. Okay, so let's use this as an example. We have this big bookshop where you can. Oh, my screen is not on. Sorry about that. So sorry. Okay, I think my screen is on now. So you have this big bookstore, and in the bookstore you have different books. Of course, you have like different books. These different books you have is what we can actually, you know, call Docker. And you have Okay, before we get out, still talking about Docker, but this is a bookshop. This is a full bookshop, and we have different, like different books inside each of these bookshop, right? This bookshop is something you can actually refer to as Docker or like a container. Now, this bookshop have, of course, every book have, every book have. Okay, let me. I'm trying to use a very realistic example for this. Give me 1 second. Not sure if book is doing justice to it. Should I use a Lego? No, I think book actually works. So you have a bookstore. You have a manager that manages these bookstores, and this manager is the one that actually looks over each of the stores. So this is like a big company. Yeah, this is a book company. Let's use that. So this guy here is a big company. So this is the main guy. This is a big company. This is like the company itself, and they have different stores. So these are like stores. How do I select and delete this? Okay, I can do that. They have different stores or branches. So these are like different branches that sells books. Basically, that's what they do. So they sell books, and they have like initially they have like three different branches in the country or regions that sell books. We have a manager. What this manager does is it manages these bookshops. It's make sure that they are working. It makes sure that sales are going here, sales are happening here. So at the end of the day, he goes through the three different bookshops to make sure that every shop is working fine. So let's say this is our manager. This is our manager right here. Interesting. So this is our manager right here. So he manages these bookshops. Now inside each of these bookshop, you have books, of course. Like you're gonna have a lot of different small books. Like a box full of books and so forth. Can I copy and paste? Yes, I can. So these are like books literally littered all over the bookshops that people can actually come and sell. I'm sorry, and buy. So what the manager basically does is he makes sure that there is supply. So like there is books in every single one of these bookshops that he manages, right? So he makes sure that if the inventory is done, there's always gonna bring in new books so that people can see the books to buy whenever they come to the shop. So that's what this manager does. That's his work. His work is to manage the bookshops in different regions. Okay. So now inside these bookshops, we have different small books. These are like books, different boxes of books that people can actually get. And what happens when there's no longer a book in one of the bookshops? The manager makes sure that he replaces those books. So now let's get to actually understand who is Docker here and who is Kubernetes in this scenario of we have a big company that sells book, we have different branches of the book, we have a manager that makes sure that there is no lack of book in each of the shop. I want you to give me an opinion. Like I want to hear from you. Who do you think is so if you're trying to relate that with Docker and Kubernetes? So which of these do you think is Docker? Which of these do you think is like Kubernetes? I want to hear from you. So you can drop a comment section. Let me know. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, nobody. Kubernetes is the bookstores. Is it? Okay. Okay, so Tami say Kubernetes is the bookstores. Uh, Usman also said Kubernetes is the bookstore. So Docker is the bookshelf, maybe. So who is the manager? Who is the manager? Yeah. Okay, so Chick say manager is the Kubernetes, and he's actually correct. So Kubernetes is yeah. So Kubernetes is the manager in this case. Why Docker is the books. So I think Kubernetes is manager. Why is there need of K8 when there is Docker? Now we'll find out. So if Kubernetes is manager, why is it? Why is there need of Kubernetes when there is Docker? Is that the question? Okay, we're gonna find out. So in this case, the books here are like our Docker images and the stores are like the Docker container and so forth. But the manager here is actually the Kubernetes here. And why is he the Kubernetes? Because he makes sure that there is no lack of book in each of these stores. So remember, these stores are so Docker the container. Yeah, Docker the containers. Docker have images. The images are like the small books. The containers are like the shops, these different shops. Why Docker images are like Docker images are like the different books that we have inside this container. These are like the Docker images. Oops, how do I get rid of this guy? Okay. Oops. So the small books that we have inside our shops or inside the bookshops are like the Docker images. All right. So why the shop itself is like the container, the Docker container in this case. So this manager here is Kubernetes. And again, the work of the manager is to make sure that there is no lack of book. Yeah, like different pods. So these are like the pods. The work of the manager is to make sure that there is no lack of book inside each of the shops or the pods. So that's basically the relationship between Docker and Kubernetes. So let's bring it tech wise. So tech wise, these shops are like your projects. These shops are like these stores, these bookstores are like your projects. You build a fancy app. Fine. What happens if something happens and the app crashes and boom, it goes down? Okay, that's where Kubernetes comes in. It makes sure so Shaking Disaster asked a question. It said Docker is a type of manager that allows you to run kube, right? So not really. So Kubernetes, kube is the manager itself. You can run kube manually, but I mean the whole idea is to make it automatic, to automate, so that if there's no book here, we can actually replace the book immediately. Why spinning up another book? So let's bring it tech wise, right? So we build an application. We build one application, and we Dockerize it. So we have a copy of that application. So first of all, let's actually understand the problem Docker is solving, right? So Docker helps you to make sure that it bundles your applications all in one. So what that means is, if I go to this shop, I will see every single book in this shop. If I happen to travel to a different location, let's say different state or different region, the same books that are available here are also going to be available here. Like nothing is missing. So when you build your application and you dockerize the application, it has everything it needs to run. So what that means is I don't need to install this, install that when I want to run your application on my local machine. So if I want to test your application, if I want to test it on my own machine, I don't need to install different softwares to actually make it run. All I need is the Docker image, I pull it down, and I just go ahead and build it and run it. It's going to use the same environment that you have defined for it to use. So it solves the problem of having issues of different environments. So whether I'm on Linux, Windows, or or Mac OS, that problem is solved by Docker. That is the problem Docker solves. It makes sure that you build once and it runs everywhere. That is the problem Docker solves. Okay, and then you have Kubernetes. What Kubernetes basically does is, if for some reasons one of the stores are out of inventory, like it's not accessible, let's bring it down to tech, it's not accessible, this platform is down for some reason, it just crashed. So what it actually does, it spins up another instance of that application immediately, like with everything it needs for it to run. So you have zero downtime. So it never goes down. So it makes sure that the inventory is always available. Give me 1 second here. So it makes sure that the inventory is always available, like 100 always. So cloud platforms always use 99% uptime. So like nobody can actually get 100%. we still see applications going down sometimes, or a specific region is done and stuff are not working. So they always use 99%. So it makes sure that the applications or the resources are available 99%, so that you actually have everything you need to spin up a new application. Okay. So that's basically the problem they solve. So in this case, these are Docker, this is Kubernetes. Just supplying, making sure that there is resources here. Okay, so let me get back to the comment section. Let's see. So Kubernetes, the one who manages the Docker containers, like their resources, allocations, and so forth. So let's not confuse the two. You can actually run your applications without Kubernetes. Like your application, Docker can actually run on its own. Like you can actually build, deploy on Docker, host on Docker, like host your application, the Docker version of it, and it will run absolutely fine. Like it can run on its own, right? What Kubernetes actually does, it's just think of Kubernetes like a load balancer, basically, just making sure that the application does not lag, does not go down at all. Like it has everything it needs to actually keep running. Like that's basically the problem it solves. Like make sure that I am online 24/7. If for some reasons I'm done, just spin up a replica of me, and why making sure the application is running, spin up a replica. So basically this is what it does. So if you host the application, you have like two replicas of the application running. If one goes down, the other one spins up immediately, so that there is zero downtime. Kubernetes spins up another version of that to replace the one that went down. Think about like it repairs it to make sure it has the same thing that this other version has, and it's up there just in case this other one also goes down again. So that's the problem solved. Just like the way manager mentioned that if there's a book lacking in this shop, replace it immediately. Like he replaces it. Why are so basically, let's say I'm using a bookshop, but let's imagine, so if customers come to this bookshop to buy a book, if for some reasons part of this book is not working, we have a different shop that is a replica of our shop that we can direct them to buy the same book they are looking for. So they'll never lack, access to our store. So once this shop is done, manager redirects every customer to this other shop that has all the books they want, right? And when he did that, he is building up, he's supplying books back to this store to make sure that, you know, if for some reasons something happens to this other shop, this one is up and running. So you just make sure that it's zero downtime. Okay. Let's see. So another question. Is this not the same thing Docker Hub do? Docker Hub, think of Docker Hub like your GitHub repository. So what Docker Hub does, the same thing GitHub repository does. You have your code, you hosted it on GitHub, right? And each time you make a change, those changes go to that repository. Though there is a commit there's a commit and there's a branch. The commit are like, these are the latest changes I have made. So think of Docker Hub like GitHub, but for Docker. So you make some changes. So you build an application, you push it to Docker Hub, fine. You make some changes on your local machine. You want those changes to be on you want those changes to also be on your remote repository. You push those changes, which is the latest changes you have made. So what it does is the latest changes is not the one it will point as the main application, while also keeping record or tags of the old changes. So think about it like GitHub repository. So the same thing GitHub does. You push a code, is there on the main branch, and you create a new branch. Even if you didn't create a new branch, you make some changes to the code, you add your commit, you push it, fine. You push it, right? So it replaces the code online. That does not mean you can't actually, reverse and go back to the previous one. So it's still the same kind of repository with different versions of the same code. That is what it does. That's the Docker Hub. Think about it like repository. Then think of Kubernetes as just that guy. Yes. Let me see. So Docker can run independently, but K8 need Docker engine to run. Yeah, Kubernetes, you need Kubernetes need Docker engine to run, like, because it needs something that it can actually relate to. Like it needs work. So a manager needs shops. A manager needs people to manage, right? So think about like a manager. It can't be a manager if you're not managing people. Okay, GitHub, but with its own CDN, content delivery network. Yes, so yeah, that's basically Docker Hub. Okay, so that is basically what Docker and Kubernetes is, and the relationship between both of them. So let's go back to our slide. Yes, so Docker Hub is typically a storage device for Docker images like GitHub. Exactly, that is exactly what it does, what it is. So Kubernetes simplified management. There's always you're always going to see the word management, because that's basically what it does. It just manages, controls traffic. One of my friends defined it like a traffic weather that controls cars when the cars should come. Like it checks it checks when the road is clear. It calls in the next car to come. So think about Kubernetes like a traffic weather that controls traffic on the road. So that's what it does. It's an air traffic controller for your applications, managing their deployment, scaling, and heads automatically. So ensuring resources are effectively utilized and downtime is minimized. It also helps with seamless scaling. Yes, so with Kubernetes application can effortlessly scale up or down. So you can actually tell it to to use more RAM, more storage, more, just like when you provision a virtual machine, right? You can literally use Kubernetes to control, whether you want to add more resources to your environment, basically, or you want to actually, go down. So it can scale up or down based on demand. Again, think about it like a load balancer, basically. So head monitoring, yeah, it can also help you to help monitor when your application is up or down. So let's why it matters. So why Kubernetes actually matters. Real world impacts. Platforms like Netflix and Spotify, they use it to make sure that they maintain, zero downtime. Open source community, yeah, it's open source. So I see someone dropped a comment. So Docker is a tool that creates, run, and manage container for app to deployment. Containers are packaged, yeah. While Kubernetes is a system to deploy, scale, manage many containers, and so forth and so forth. Yeah, so that's basically, in theoretically what it does. Again, you always see manage when you talk about Kubernetes. You always see manage. That's the work. So think about it like a manager managing employees, a manager managing infrastructure, managing shops. So whatever a manager does, that is absolutely exactly what uh, what Kubernetes does for applications. So it's open source free. So what it means like anybody can contribute to it. So if interested, you can look up the Kubernetes repository, look at the codes, contribute to it either through coding, either through documentations, content, and so forth. So it's open source, built by the community for the community. Cloud innovation, AWS and Kubernetes enhance scalability. So let me not use AWS as AWS. So let me say cloud platforms actually and Kubernetes enhance scalability, because you will also see Kubernetes on every the big guys, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform. You always see Kubernetes out there. So they promote it. They have resources and services for you to run it on their machine, on their platform. So it's community driven. So we have tools like Kapanta, which is like open source tool, actually that helps to manage these Kubernetes more effectively and so forth. So think about the open source community. If you use Linux a lot, it's open source, right? And you have a lot of repos. What's it called? Linux. Is it images now, or kernels, or distros? Different distros of Linux. I think the popular one is like Ubuntu is very popular, user friendly. We have Linux Mint and the rest of them. Linux Archie. Yeah, some of them. So these are like the same vibe is they're all running on top of Linux, which is the open source, and these other guys are still open source. They are all running on Linux. So you also have other tools, like a lot of tools that actually runs on Kubernetes, and they're like doing one thing or the other, helping Kubernetes to be better, making it a little bit easier. Example is Minikube. Minikube is like a smaller version of Kubernetes also. So again, it is Kubernetes, but it's making, thank you, Chuk. It is making, it's making running Kubernetes easy and a little bit. So example is it understand that you don't need all the whole resources. You need like the whole resources that Linux has. I say Linux. It does. You don't need the whole resources that Kubernetes have. Maybe you just need some basic of Kubernetes. So Minikube is like a smaller version of it. Think about it as frameworks in programming. So you have Express, you have React for the web guys, you have React, you have Express, which is a framework for Node.js, you have Angular, and the rest of them. They're all JavaScript, right? But they're all JavaScript. They run, on JavaScript, but they have their own keyword and kind of simplify writing JavaScript instead of writing, the heavy stuff. So think about the community-driven tools like frameworks for the main tool itself. Again, so then you have Amazon EKS. I don't know what Azure calls their own. Let's find out. I think I don't know, but let's see what it calls here. So, but you have Amazon EKS, which is EKS on Amazon. So, what that means is you can host your Kubernetes clusters on Amazon. Let's see what Azure calls your own. I think it should be. Let's see. Azure Kubernetes Service or AKS. So they call it AKS. I don't know what Google calls their own, but let's find out too. So they're all the same thing, the same tool. Just all these platforms support it. So Google CP, Google Cloud Platform. Oh, they call it Google Kubernetes Engine. Okay, JKE. So these are all naming conventions for different companies, but they are all doing the same thing. Like it's just Kubernetes on the platform, so you can able to create clusters on the platform and run it. So different interfaces, but still the same thing. Okay, so I think it's demo time, and let's see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a simple Node.js application. If you have a node, if you have node on your system, if you have Node.js in your system, that would be absolutely beautiful. But before we get started, I'm going to share a link with you right now. So this link have every single code we're going to write and every single step that we're going to follow as well. So I will share that on the link. I'll share that on the comment section. And you should be able to see that. So let me know if everyone can access that link. I want to know. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so it is basically everything we'll be running today. Like every single thing we'll be doing on this stream is right there from beginning to start. So you have access to the code, you have access to the instructions. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna share my screen. Before I do that, give me 1 second. So I'm gonna make sure I can keep track of the comment sessions. Should we? Yeah, go ahead and access the link I shared. It's a web page. I'm gonna share my screen so you can see exactly what it looks like. So this should be the page, if I'm correct. Yes. Thank you, unknown hit 001. Okay, so this is the page. Yeah. Again, I use Gemini for this. Very cool. I didn't know they have like a cool stuff like this, but awesome. So it's a simple web page with all the instructions we need, and of course the requirements: an AWS account and AWS CLI installed, Kubernetes CLI installed, Docker desktop, and Docker Hub account. So I'm gonna start with the first one. I believe I already shared that link. Let me see, share it again. So you need the AWS account. So if you don't have one already, go ahead and sign up for one right here. Yeah, Gemini is really awesome. And if you're students right here, I think they're giving out free 1 year pro version, so you can actually grab that as well and use Gemini. It's so cool. Yeah, they're giving a free pro plan for a whole 1 year for students. All you have to do is just verify that you're a student, show you some IDs or log in with your school emails and stuff. Like, pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so if you don't have an AWS account, go ahead and sign up for one. If you visit that page, I'm already signed in, so I'm pretty sure it's going to redirect me. But let's see. Click on create a free account. I saw something on the page. What is that? So, do you create an account before July 15? Access the legacy free trial. Okay, so I don't really know what that is. But I think they have like a new rule. So I think since July or after July 15th. So when you sign up for a free account, they give you $200 in credit that you can actually use to experiment. Uh, it was not the same before. So before now, when you sign up, they don't give you credit. They instead have free trial services that you can actually use. But I think they are actually making use of credit now. So they give you free $200 credit that you can actually use to experiment with the services. So when you exhaust your 200 credit, you can start paying for the services. Yeah, cool. But if you have an account like all this while, you can still access the free trial through the legacy portal. Like normally through the portal, you do log in before. Excuse me. So go ahead and sign up. They give you 200 credits, and you can actually use that to experiment and so forth. When you create an account, I already have an account, so when I click on that, it takes me to the console automatically. So this is what the console looks like. So I believe we all have accounts. I shared that earlier before the stream. So you need this. So once you have this, the next thing you need is AWS CLI. I shared the link also. Let me get that link. I'll show you exactly how to configure that right now. So you have the CLI installed. Go to the link. I'll share the link on the comment section too. So go ahead and download the link. Sorry, go ahead and download the CLI. So once you come here, click on Get Started. That should take you to a new page. That should take you to a new page. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having DNS prop issues. Yeah, I don't know. I always have this issue with AWS. When I want to access their resources, if I don't turn on my VPN, it just doesn't work. I don't know why, but that's always my trick. So I just turn on the Edge browser VPN and it just opens sharply. I don't know why it does that, but yeah, it does that. So go ahead and click on, let me see, install/updates. You should see. Okay, I think I should have just left that on. Just refresh this page again. Okay, so when you click on the install slash update, you should see instruction for if you're on Windows, if you're on Linux, if you're on Mac OS, you should see the instructions down here. So you can just follow. Okay, so if you're on Linux, all you need is this command. So just this command, you can just copy and paste it on your terminal, and that should do the magic for you. So that's this is all you need. I already have it installed, so I'm not gonna run the command again. And if I wanted to, I think I have version 2. So I don't think I actually need, I don't think I need another version. Let's see. That was supposed to be pretty fast. I don't know why it's delaying. Yeah, I think I'm using the version 2, yeah, 2.25.1, basically. Anyway, so go ahead and install that. If you're on Windows, the instructions are there too. So on Mac OS, similar to what you have on Linux. So they have the GUI, they have the command line interface for all users. They also have for the current user. So let me see. So you just simply copy and paste this on your terminal. So that should run this first command and run the second one. I think you need is going to install as an administrator. So that's why you have the sudo. So you have to enter your password while installing that. And then if you're on Windows, the command should be, let's see, download and run the CLI MSI installer for Windows. So I think you can actually install the .msi file and just install it. I don't know. I have not really. I think that's a straightforward instruction. Like, just install this and it automatically load it to your terminal or your command prompt. I'm on Windows, but I use Ubuntu, like the WSL. So, but I think that should be pretty straightforward. So just install this, and yeah, it should be available on your terminal. I think so. I believe so. But let me know if it does not work. So that's it. And once we have that ready, let's configure it. So if you have installed it, one way to check is open your terminal and run the command AWS dash dash version. That should give you the version of the AWS CLI you have. So of course, if you don't have it installed, you won't see any version come up. So AWS dash dash version, that will just output the version and the environment you're running it on. So can I get some like checkbox or comment that we are on the same page and we have it installed? Yeah, I want to be sure. If you're having issues, if you're having troubles, also let me know. Okay, so okay, you're following it. Okay, awesome. Okay, okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, okay. So I think everybody's following up. Installed, installed, installed. Okay, awesome. So let's configure it. So it's actually easy. Just type in AWS configure. But before you do that, we need to do one thing from the console. So go to your AWS console, and we're going to create an IAM. IAM simply means Identity Access Management. That's the full meaning of IAM. So on the search bar, search for IAM. So think about it like your passcode. Think about it like your passcode. Think about it like your passcode that you need to access your laptop, so your phone. So think of it like a passcode. So you have the console. You can do most of the things on the console, but you want to programmatically control the resources through your terminal or through a programming language. Then you need to create an access management that you actually use to actually communicate through your console to AWS or through your programming language to AWS. So that is basically what IAM does. It helps you create those keys that you need. Again, make sure you don't share your keys with anyone. So your keys should be private. Your keys is only your keys. When people have access to your keys, it's a disaster. It's a shaking disaster. So when people have access to your keys, they can actually use it to harm you. So they can actually use it to actually communicate with your resources, break things down on your server and so forth. So make sure your resources, your keys, your secret keys, your API keys, they are, private. Don't yeah, I see shaking disaster laughing. Yeah. Don't commit your keys to GitHub repositories. It should never be there, right? So I see a lot of newbies do that a lot. Uh I built it too. I built it too that okay, yeah, it doesn't actually check for public repository, but I think the two I built is actually check for yeah, the two I built was actually checks for configurations and potential risk. I call it I am guide. Let me see if I can find it. I am guide. Let's see. NPM should be somewhere here. Yeah, that's me. And come on, don't be slow. Yeah, it's just a package that just does. I'm not gonna dive into it. I'm just gonna drop it just in case anyone is interested in checking it out. Yeah. So let's focus on what we are actually here for. But basically, the two actually talks. It just helps with scanning your AWS security and stuff. Okay, so on the AWS console, click on IAM. So this will open the IAM console for you. We're interested in creating an IAM user. Yeah, I don't know why this is slow. I'm gonna turn on the VPN again. I don't know why AWS love my VPN, but it does. So on the IAM console, click on users under access management. You can also just click on users from that initial page. I have existing users. Go ahead and click on create user. Give the user a name. Let's call this MAH user, for example. So you have this option, provide user access to management control. Do I want to? Yes, maybe, no, I don't want to. So basically what this is, if you want to give the user access to log into the console. So think about this like you're creating an account for a user that joins your company or somebody that you want to share resources with, your resources with. You can give them access to console if you want them to log into the console, or all they have to do is programmatically. So I'll leave that optionally. The next option is to attach permissions. So you have existing permissions here. This is if you want to create a group, and in a group that already have some permissions attached to it, and you want to just add that group to this user so that every permission that group has automatically becomes part of this user. But what I want to do is attach policies directly to this user. And this is important. This is like the most important aspect of creating an IAM user. You want to give them the least privilege. So what I mean by that is you need to give them only the permission they need. Like, don't give them more than they need. If my work is to take care, if I'm a cashier, there's a reason, works comes with titles, right? The work of a cashier is to make sure they take the money and stuff. We have a cleaner. The work of a cleaner is to make sure the things, everything's are neat. I don't think a cleaner have any business turning on the machine, like the generator, or operating the plane. Like, there is a reason we have specialists that specialize in specific things. So think about it like that when it comes to permissions. You want to give this user only access to what they need. And in your case, this is you creating for yourself. You can just give this user an administrative access. So administrative access have access to all the resources, so they can do anything at all. So think about this like you, the owner. But in a case, you are actually giving access to a user, and their job is to manage, let's say, S3 buckets. That's the storage. That's their job. Then just give them access to S3. You can only search for a policy here. Let me see S3. You see Amazon S3 full access, and I just give them access to just that permission. So when they come to the console, they only have access to S3 buckets. They can create an EC2. They can create a cluster. They can't see clusters because they don't have permission to see it. Like, so they basically can't do other things if they don't have access to do it. So think about this. This is like the most important aspect of creating resources. So, but for your case, just go ahead and give yourself the admin access. Let me see if there's a different one or this. So administrator access. Is there any other thing like admin full access? No. So it's administrator access. So this gives you access to, you can actually expand this to see what it does, but this gives you access to everything. If you look at the results here, it says action asterisk, so it's a white card, and the resources is a white card. So it gives you access to every single thing on your AWS account. So is admin. So is admin. So go ahead and give yourself an admin privilege and click on next. That's all you need to do. Create the user. Once the user is created, we have this page. Click on view the user, or you can just access the user from here. Any option works. So this is the user. The next thing we need to do is create a security credential for this user. So we have created this user, we have given them permission, but we have not given them password and username that they can actually use to access the key or access the resources, right? So we need to do that. So go to security credentials and scroll down. You'll see different options like create access key, create a lot of options, but focus on creating access key because we want this user to be able to send programmatic calls to AWS from the CLI tools, PowerShell, and SDK. So this is basically going to give the user access to run, communicate with the AWS programmatically. So click on create access. This does not really matter. Just choose the command CLI and confirm that yes, you actually know what you're doing, and click on next. You can put a description tag. Tags are what tags are. They're useful to recognize or helps you to actually get to the resources easily. It's like when you go to events, they give you a tag, and your tag, it is called visitor, or when you visit a place is visitor, so you use the tag to not be a visitor. So you can put a tag to, it could be this guy is on a specific team, maybe deployment team in the company. So put a tag of deployment team, or maybe they are So department, whichever department they belong to or group or whatever. So go ahead and do that. It's optional. Once you've done that, you click on create. You will see your access key and you also see your secret access key. Okay. Yeah, I know my screen is being shared and everybody can see my access key, but nobody can see my secret key. But you actually need both to actually compromise my account. So you can see your access key and you can also see your secret access key. So this is a one-time thing, like a one-time page that comes up. You can actually download a CSV file of that. So if I click on download CSV file, this will download that file for me with these two details right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these. I actually don't need it. I can just copy it and copy this and keep it somewhere. So once you click on done, you can't return to this page again. Yeah, someone say we're not looking. Yeah, everybody's looking. Okay, so once you're done here, click on done, and you can return to this page. For you to create that again, like you need to create a new one. Like for some reasons you didn't grab that or something happened, you need to create a new access key. So and you can actually delete this. You can deactivate it. So if for some reasons your account is compromised, something, you can just come here, deactivate or delete it, and of course create a new one. So you can't edit it. This is just description. You can't edit it. You can't see it again. So you only delete it or create a new one. So it's like a API key. Not really, yeah, but like an API key. I think these days API keys are like right there. You can actually copy it over and over again. So once you have that in set, we can go back to our terminal and we can configure it. We can configure our CLI to talk with our resources, to talk with our console, basically. So the keyword you need is AWS configure. I got that correctly, right? I do. So I already have this configured. I'm not going to reconfigure it, but this is what it looks like. So once when you type in AWS configure, you will see access key ID. You need to paste the access key ID you copied or you downloaded from the console just few minutes ago, few seconds ago, and paste that in here and hit enter. It will ask you to enter your access secret key. You also see it, which is the guy that was actually not shown. So if you click on copy to copy it, if you downloaded it, you have access to it also. So go ahead and paste that here. Hit enter. It will ask you your default region. So AWS have regions, a lot of regions. I have regions all over the world. If you check here, you see regions. They have more, like 17 more, apart from what we have on the screen here. So these are like different regions of AWS. Yeah, none, because you have none already, right? So I'm answering this question right on the screen. So first I'm seeing none next to the AWS access key. So none because you have none. So mine is because I already configured it. So it's basically showing me my access key and asking me if I want to enter another one. I can actually reconfigure it. Yeah, you can actually create profiles, but we're not going to dive into that. So if you're seeing none, it means you don't have any. So paste the access key on the terminal once you have, once the prompt comes up, and you should be able to just paste it in there. So again, we have AWS have a lot of regions all over the world. So this is basically asking you to choose the region you mainly use or you want this particular user to access. So you can just go in and type the region. So the same way you typed in, the same way you have the regions right here, like US East 1, US East 2, AP Sat 1, and the rest of them. That is the same way you just type it in there. Popularly stick to US East 1. Why? You have most of the AWS resources in US East 1. So some resources can be available in US East 1 and it's not available in, let's say, AP Sat 1 and so forth. So, but US East 1, yeah, always have all the resources you need. So you can stick to that. So if you hit enter, after entering that, you should see a question, default output format. Again, Uri, I just want to make sure I answered your question, right? Are you still having any issues with that? If you are, just let me know. So you see option to define the default output format. So like, okay, I'm all good. Cool. So how if what so when you run command on the CLI, how do you want the output to be? Do you want it to be in a JSON format or do you want it to be, I think, XML format, right? Yeah, but everybody just stick to JSON, please. It's more readable. So you can just go ahead and type in JSON when this option comes in. Default is always going to use JSON actually. If you like, if it comes up and you hit enter, I think it will use JSON as default. Once you've done that, I hit enter. That's all. And we're actually done with that configuration. So from now on, you can actually configure. You can actually communicate. Create S3 buckets, create ESC tools, programmatically, communicate from your terminal to your AWS. So that's it for configuring your AWS CLI. So next is the Kubernetes CLI. Again, I used what was it called? I used what was the name? Minikube. But you can also use the Kubernetes CLI. So let's see. I share the link. I'm gonna get the link again. Where are you? Where are you? Right here. Okay, so am I going to install this? No, but I'll show you how to install it. So just simply go to the link. Also, I'll just share that on the comment section. Click on your favorite operating system. So let's say Linux, for example, and just copy the commands that you have and run. Just copy that. Just follow the instructions. You can copy, validate that everything is okay. Install. Just follow the instruction. I'm actually not going to run this because I already have Minikube. I mean, if I run this on my terminal, it will give me the version of Kubernetes CLI that I have here. So I have the client version 1 point this, customized version 5.5.0. So just follow the instruction, and at the end of the day, just run this command to see if it was successful or not. So this will give you the version that you're on. Yeah, so that's for Linux. For Windows, okay, I was in Linux. For Windows, for Mac, the instructions are also the same. So just run from, you can choose your what's it called, processor, either the Intel or Apple Silicon, and follow along with the instruction. So everything run from the terminal. And for Windows, let me see, is it different? So basically the same. So you have two options for installing on Windows: a direct download. I think they have like a UI. I think so. You can just download the binary, or you can use the Kura tool to install on your terminal. So just follow the instruction on any of the operating system you are on, and you should be good to go. So again, finally, once you're done, just run the kubectl version hyphen client to see the version. So this verifies that you already have it and it's installed, which is cool. Okay, so once we are done with that, the next thing we need is Docker Hub. So this should be like way easy. Just go to Docker Hub, go to hub.docker.com and sign up. So go ahead and sign up here. So we will be needing this for your Docker repository. So we'll be pushing this to Docker Hub. We'll be pushing our Docker file to Docker repository. So go ahead and sign up for an account if you don't have one already. I don't know what. Let me see. I'm just gonna sign out. I think they should have option for like using Google or using GitHub to sign up. So it should be like very easy. Let me see. If you click on sign up, which options you have? Yeah, of course. You have Google and GitHub. So you can use any of that and sign up, sharply. Okay. That's Docker Hub. So next we need, I'm just gonna sign in with Google. Come on. Okay, thank you. So I have my hub, I have my repositories, and so forth. Okay, so once you have that, next we need to download Docker. So you can easily use the Docker desktop, which is like way easy for everything we need to do right now. Like we're actually not gonna we'll see how it works. So you can just search for Docker desktop on your machine. The first link you see should take you to it. I think I shared a link to that earlier. Let me get the link. It should be docker.com. Download Docker desktop. You see, I actually have Linux desktop, I think. So Mac, Intel, or Silicon, Windows, AMD, or Intel, or ARM, whatever, and Linux as well. So they have desktop versions for each of these operating systems. So you can download any of that. But if you don't want to, you can also go for the Docker engine right here, this guy. Let me see. How do you get to that? You can just search for that. I'm just gonna copy this link and keep it here in the comment section. So you can download the desktop version. It just gives you a very good interface that you can actually experiment with and run run your Docker images, run your container, run your images, stop the container, pause the container, and so forth. Why you can so again, when you install it also runs like when you have the desktop version. I'm not sure. Yeah, when you have the desktop version, it also installs the CLI for you, so you can also run it on the terminal as well. Or you can install the engine itself, and you don't have like a Docker interface. So whichever one you prefer, basically. But you can go with the desktop version. Okay. So which other tool do we need? Yeah, I think that's all. That's all we need. That's all we need. All right. So I just want to ask: are we on the same page? Do we have all these tools set up? If we do, then we get down to creating a directory and creating our code and the rest of the instructions on the web page I shared earlier. Okay, I see +1, which means that we're good. Every other person good? Okay, yes, everything is installed. So let's get started. So the next we're going to create a very simple Node.js application. So you have the web page. So the instructions are there. So just go ahead and copy, paste, or just type in the command. So this is make directory. I'm simply creating a directory right here called EKS workshop. I'm not going to cd into it. Instead, I'm going to open it on my Visual Studio Code. So you can, if you have Visual Studio Code installed, you can just create a folder and just open it in your Visual Studio Code. So every other thing we'll be doing it from the Visual Studio Code terminal. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. So EKS workshop. What I'm doing here is I'm opening this folder in Visual Studio Code. That's what I'm doing right here. What this will do, I'm gonna close this. It's the same code, but let me open it. So what this does is here in Visual Studio Code, that's exactly what it does. And what I do, I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code terminal so I can run the terminal command from my Visual Studio Code. And I didn't mention that we should download Visual Studio Code. I assume all of us have Visual Studio Code. I mean, it's like the most popular IDE. But if you're using something else, that's absolutely cool as well. Literally, I can't remember any other editor's name. What's it called? Sublime? Is it Sublime? Can't remember, but I think I started with that. Visual Studio, very very complex. JetBeans, I don't know if it is free, but VS Code is like way popular and very easy, and it's open source as well. Since we're talking about open source, so this is also open source, and you can contribute to it if you love what they're building. Okay, so once we're here, you can follow the instructions. So we need to create a file. So you need Node.js already installed. So I didn't mention that as well, but these are like requirements, right? I know not all of us are actually using JavaScript, maybe some write Python and other programming languages. But you can install Node.js. Yeah, I'm not going to go into details of using MVM to install them and so forth, like installing different versions. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The interfaces are like Visual Studio Code is like way easy. So if you don't have Node.js, go ahead and install Node.js. Just type in Node.js. Are we going to need it? Maybe not. So it's not really. You don't really need it. Like you don't really need it, but yeah, you can install it if you actually want to run the file locally to see what it does. So we'll be running Node.js. We'll be creating a simple app on Node.js, like a simple endpoint simply. And you need Node.js to run Node.js. So just go to your browser, type in Node.js download, you should be good to go. Just go ahead and download it. So once you're there, you can follow the rest of the instructions. So we're creating a file. You can do that from here, create a new file and create the files. But I'm going to be using the terminal because it's like way easy for me. And it just does things very sharp, very quickly. So I'm just gonna use touch app.js that will create a file called app.js for me right there. And I'm going to just copy the command, the code basically. Don't generate, just come on. So I'm going to copy the code. I have the code already on the web page. So you also have access to the code also on the web page I shared earlier. Just in case you don't have the link to the web page, I'm going to share it one more time so everybody have access to it. Like even if you're not playing along right now, Next time you want to try it, watch the video or follow along, you can just use the web page. It has all the codes and instructions that you need. So this is the web page. You have access to the instructions we are following right now. So what we have here is we're using Express framework, and we're just mapping the port and creating our endpoint, which is just say hello world. Your Node.js app is running on EKS. That's all. Uh, that's just what we're doing right here. Like we're actually not doing any other thing, any special thing again. This is just what we're doing. Next is to create a package.json. I mean, you can just create that and add the file, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use. You can just do that. You can like create the file, create the file, follow the instructions. You can create the file. Okay, let me know if my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to enlarge the screen. Let me try to enlarge my screen and I will come to this question. So someone said just downloaded Node.js and I see this. Make sure that user local bean is in your path. Okay. Are you seeing that when installing the software, there should be an option like yes or something? I don't know. I have actually forgotten how to use Node.js, like how to install Node.js on raw Windows. But any can anybody help out with that question on the screen? If anybody can, please do. It says it was successfully, but I am supposed to check if it's in the directory. No, you don't have to. If it was successful, then it should work. Just go to your terminal and type nodes hyphen version. I think hyphen v also works. I think so. No, it doesn't. Yeah, so just confirm if you have it installed. So just type in node hyphen version on your terminal. If you're using what's it called? PowerShell or CMD. Yeah, it should be there. So that warning or message, it's simply I can't remember exactly how it works on Windows, but I think so. Basically, it's just making sure that it is available, like to the whole terminal, basically. Okay, so let's see. Can you all hear me? And can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. So I'm just gonna rush this a little bit. Let's see what we can accomplish. So I'm just gonna do npm init y to initialize this. That should give me everything I need for my package.johnson file. Yeah, it is a little bit lagging, but because I have a lot of things opened. Well, let's see. Come on. Okay, so that works. I'm just gonna copy this and paste it in here. Yeah, just follow the instruction. So we have a very simple app and it's actually working. All I have to do is npm install npm I, and this should install the package we have, which is express.js right here. Yeah, that should like take a few seconds, but that should work. I just want to make sure it's working. I'm pretty sure it should be working. Okay, I am going to queue this terminal, but let me wait for a few seconds. So while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna follow the other instructions. Just create a Docker file. Just click on your create, call it Docker. Call it Docker file, and yeah, I don't know why that file disappeared. Okay, this is running pretty slow. Hi, can you be a little bit faster? It's actually creating the file, but it is taking forever. And that is why I love using the terminal for this. So I can simply do this. You know what? Yeah, I think it has actually created it. So we have a Docker file here, and I will paste our Docker file. So I'm going to explain what it does. I can't seem to run the npm I. Are you having any issue? npm I, or you can do install. Make sure you have npm installed. Like, make sure you have npm. You can check npm version. I think when you install Node.js, it comes with npm automatically. So you should have npm also. So you can run npm hyphen version to check if you have. When you run npm version, it gives you an error message. Okay, that's strange. But when you run Node version, you get they have Node installed, right? If that's the case, I think you can actually install. I think you can install npm. Just Google npm install. I think Node.js actually comes with npm automatically. Yeah, it does. So yeah, you can just Google how you can install npm right there. Let's see. So I'm just going to explain what the Docker file here does. I mean, our stream should be like ending right now, but let's rush it up. and you can actually continue the rest of this of workshop with using the web page I shared earlier. So we're giving Docker. Okay, so I have already made Express servers. So before, blah, blah, blah. So this is first for me. Haha. Okay, cool. So basically, we're telling Docker the image to use, or not like image, like the node version to use to run the app. These are all. If you go to the Docker Docker documentation, you can see different versions of Node.js. So if you're using Python or other words, like you have all those versions, yeah. We are telling it directly that directory, sorry, that we want it to, copy our files to or have our files to inside a container, which is the source app, and then we are copying the JSON file and we want it to run this command npm install. So we're giving it instructions of what to do, basically, or how to bundle our application. So once we have done that, make sure you have your Docker opened, like the Docker desktop open. So the engine will be running behind the scene. Let me see. I'm trying to open it. It can be very heavy sometimes. Here we go. So make sure you have the Docker engine running so that you can be able to actually bundle the app. So the engine needs to be running. So if you open it, once you open it, there's an option. You see engine running. I think there's an option to start the engine automatically. This is not the home page. This is not the first thing you see when you open it, but you should see something. Yeah, I think there's an option. You see something where you can actually start the engine, so it can be running, and you can actually go ahead and run these other commands that you have here. The Docker build. So what I'm doing here is I'm bundling the application and I'm tagging it with a name. So like Docker build -t, there's a tag, and this is the tag name I want to give it to it. And I'm go ahead and do that. So this will just go ahead and bundle this application for us. Let's see. I think I already have something with that name. Not pretty sure. Let me check the images. Yeah, I do. I think I can give you something else. So the best way to keep practicing with Docker, I'm going to share a resource with all of you right now. So because we are like actually out of time, and I have a stream coming up on Wednesday, which we actually picked this up. I shared a video. I shared a video link right now on the comment section. That video literally gives you an example of more like an intro also to Kubernetes. So it explains it in a different way. So I think the best way to learn things is to get different explanations from different people on, like define this. If I define this, someone else defined this, someone else defined it in their own words. I think it kind of makes sense at the end of the day when you bundle all the whole knowledge together or all the definitions together. So you can just literally check that YouTube channel. That YouTube channel, at the end of the YouTube channel, it gives you a resource that you can actually use to learn about Kubernetes and Docker. For practicing, of course, you can like download and practice on your local machine, right? That's the best way to actually play with it. So let me actually bring that question to the screen. So my personal project, yeah. So again, you already have an existing project. It's a full stack, awesome, and with the database and backend servers. So it's complex, yeah. I don't know if it's a microservice or you have everything, like it's a monolithic software, like have everything in one place, which is you can still bundle it. You can still bundle it. It's a little bit complex, but you can still bundle it and you can still specify the commands on Docker, when to run this when to run this. So it's all about giving it the command to do. And yeah, of course, you can also always use, GPT, Gemini, Stack Overflow. I don't know how many people use Stack Overflow now, since we have Chat GPTs and the rest of them. But yeah, those cool things you can also explore. But check out the video. At the end of the video, it actually shared the results, like a course on learning about Kubernetes and everything about it. And then again, check out the documentations. That's actually the first place I recommend people should learn things. Check out the official documentation of the project itself. Look at the examples they have. You know, these platforms have the documentations. They will show you the examples, and you can actually learn from the documentation from the project itself using the documentation, how it works, and the examples and stuff. Okay. Uh, uh, Actually, from this end, once this builds, you can actually run it locally. And also, if you go to Docker, the desktop, you're able to see it here. And I can easily click on run, and this application will start running like ASAP. So when I click on run, it brings up options. If I want to, I can give it a name, a container name. I can map it to a specific port that I want it to run to. So let's say, yeah, I just leave it as a localhost 5,000, whatever you want to, whatever the host is going to be. You can just put in the host. What I don't know right now is, let me see. I'm going to run these about 5,000. If you look at our terminal, it is actually running every single command we give to it. So right now it's on npm install. That's the part it's on right now. So it's running 4/5, which is almost done. And then I need to go ahead to expose this port. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give this a name. I'll just leave it. It generate a random name for it. Okay, so because of time, I'm gonna pick this up on next week, Wednesday. We're gonna have a new another section, another stream. It is like literally very similar to what we're just talking about right now. So I'll continue this right there, and you can follow along with the rest of the instructions on the web page. So I think we already have like another activity happening right now. So you all, if you're interested, join the I think it's a mini game. Go ahead and join that. And yeah, this is running, and I can actually go to my local host, but 5,000. So if I click on this should open on my browser, and I should be able to see. I should be able to see that endpoint. Yeah, it's not working. I know why it's not working, because we're still building it. And again, don't forget to leave feedback also on what you think we can do better on the Global Hack Week. Okay, so I think I will leave it. I will leave it off for you now. We'll continue this on my next stream, but you have access to the web page, which gives you instructions, so you can finish this up on your own time and go ahead and deploy it. And if you run into issues, just type it in on Discord. I'll be right there to actually look at for your questions where we are running this. Okay, so we have another session going on right now, and it's a game. You should be able to see that on the Discord, and you should be able to join and have fun, guys. Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much. And we'll continue this. We're not done with this, so we'll continue this stream next week Wednesday. I have another stream next week, and we're actually going to continue this. It's like still a part of it, right? But go ahead and finish this up using the web page that I shared earlier. Thank you guys. Thank you guys, and have a lovely rest of the day. Okay, bye bye.